I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight."
Former President Trump's speech at the conclusion of the Republican convention was really two different speeches in one.
There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side.
The first part, roughly the first 20 minutes, was a very moving recounting of what happened on Saturday night when he was nearly assassinated. He was kind of talking about life in a very human way, a very mortal way, and it was the kind of thing that I think would connect with millions and millions of voters.
This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness.
But shortly after that, the speech changed and went in a direction that probably was not what his advisors had hoped for or intended. The whole convention to that point had been based on trying to emphasize unity, and the last 60 or 70 minutes of his speech was much more divisive.
Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom.
It was very reminiscent of the speeches he gave back in 2016, very anti-immigrant.
It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land.
It was not someone who had a new vision. It was not someone who had a new message.
And we will restore and renovate our nation's once great cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And that includes our nation's capital, which is a horrible killing field.
I don't think that's the kind of message that is going to bring Americans back into his camp. In fact, it's the kind of comments and the kind of language that reminds Americans of him and the kind of way he led as president that a lot of Americans didn't agree with.
The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat.
There was a lot of exaggerated statistics.
The jobs that are created, 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens.
That's obviously not true. And that's the kind of thing that he did again and again during the speech that I think a lot of people saw and poked holes in immediately.
Under this administration, our current administration, groceries are up 57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled.
We couldn't find anything to match or corroborate those statistics. There are plenty of statistics he could have used on immigration, on inflation, that just on their own merit would have probably resonated with a lot of Americans. But instead, a lot of the statistics he used, in fact, possibly all the statistics he used, were inflated or exaggerated in a way that's kind of, vintage Trump. I think he maybe missed an opportunity to be straight with America. I feel like the speech might have fallen short of expectations and hopes from a lot of people who thought that with Republicans doing so well in the polls, that he could potentially help them run the tables in November.
And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that.
This is the kind of speech, if Democrats watch it and independents watch it, they can see a political candidate that can be beat. They can see a political candidate who lost the popular vote in 2016 and 2020, who has cost Republicans elections year after year after year. And if he kind of keeps going on these rants and these tirades about immigrants and making up statistics, this is the kind of candidate that Democrats could beat again. The question is, which Democrat will run against him in 2024? And with less than 4 months to go, we don't know the answer to that question.